Right. We needed that to be done. All right, we will call the Personnel Budget and Finance Committee meeting to order at 5:34 PM. As it just switched. All members that are supposed to be are here. We're all accounted for. Thank you very much. I was the late one today. I seen your post about, being late. I was the late one today. All right, have we had a chance to review and is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Not for me.
I know that I didn't have it. Anna, did you see anything in the minutes that you needed corrected?
I did not.
Up to motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? They're approved. Okay, moving on to the auditor's update.
July books are closed. Overall for the month, we received $2,254,461.69. We spent $2,193,142.44. For the year, we have received $15,001,959.82. Our expenses for the year, $16,993,094.89. Of that, I know you tend to mention at these meetings, year-to-date expenses for the police project is $5.3 million. Really close to 5.3.
What was and the revenue, was that, part of that was included on the?
Yeah, any of the grant draws that we're doing is also shows as revenue.
Do we know what that was?
Do not. 3.2.
So really, without that, the revenue would be what? Well, 11.8?
Yeah.
Roughly. And the expenses would be 11.6. Pretty close to that. All right. All right. What questions do we have for the auditor? Do you have any questions for the auditor today? You don't. All right. Shannon, do you have any questions for the auditor today?
No.
All right. Looking at the month-to-date, year-to-date revenue report. Interest income.
Interest.
So on the first page, fourth thing from the bottom on my page. So we had estimated that at $180,000. That was based on last year?
And we are nowhere near, it's significantly down. I mean, you would see that.
Yes, yes. And what changed that interest would have come down so much?
It's-
We have less money in the bank to draw interest on. Is that did that have anything to do with the money? I'm curious about this. The enterprise fund that was transferred away, was that any part of last year that we would have gained interest on in this, or was that completely separate and any interest only went to the enterprise fund?
The interest doesn't go into that fund. It goes in this line, right?
So,
We have interest, it's just the general fund. Yeah. Other than. Right, the investment account for the police building, they get their own interest and it's reflected in the 312 fund. But this is all of the money in the bank was reflected in here, so it could be less because of the transfer. Did we do that last year? Or was it the year before? Transfer funds. It's been 2 years now, 3 years. I don't recall if it was last year. If it was last year, it was the very beginning of the year, so I don't think that would have mattered.
I'm just, because it's such a big difference.
Yeah. Well, when I first started, it was pennies to the dollar, and then there was a significant increase of interest, and now we're on the downhill slope again.
Does that rate fluctuate?
I don't think the rate fluctuates. Yeah. But I don't think last year was. Happy to send an email to Huntington and see. I think it's just the trend currently.
Well, it seems pretty consistent on a monthly basis at 74.85. You multiply that by 7, you're gonna be really close to this number. Right?
Yeah.
Be 49,000 plus, you know. So it'd be close to that number. I was just curious about that. I mean, maybe,
Yeah, I know that's
for sure
topic
next
every
year.
year for budgeting, but it's hard to budget because I have no control over interest rates.
No, but I think next year you want to budget that downward.
This is low. Let me look and see if I can find a quick email on what we had last year.
The interest line, that's 101,
Revenue rate, I'm on.
month to date, year to year revenue report, and it would have been the first page. Fourth thing from the bottom, interest.
Oh, there it is.
I'll look, but I can't recall, but I'm pretty sure I did budget for less than what we got last year.
I didn't go through this line by line. I'm not going to go through it line by line now. I do know that if we were, everything was on budget for 7 months, we'd be at 58.33%. So anything close to that, like income taxes, 5.76, that's, you know, within a few points, that's pretty close. Property taxes even closer. Liquor sale fees, I mean, that's up, obviously. Traffic violations, no.
Hmm.
Donations are up, you know.
Last year we received. That doesn't work out. Last year we received 192,000. So I went from budgeting. I estimated 150 in revenue and we exceeded it because we received 192. So I met in the middle at 180 and we're well below that now. So.
And we'll probably only end up around 90,000 or so.
Exceeded it. I met in the middle and now we're below it. I can't win.
So do you have any current concerns about these reports? Do you have any concerns where we're at with things right now?
Overtime for police and fire are both high. But hopefully we can just move money around because we're short staffed in the regular salaries line. I believe recreation health insurance line is running a little high, but nothing of concern right now. It's just something I'm keeping an eye on for the last quarter of the year.
Remind me what the Kenny Boulevard extension is. Yeah. Or
And
12.
it is Kenny Boulevard TIF. 24. Where you at? Where we at?
Page 8 of 9.
Stanley TIF, right? Yeah. Just the Stanley TIF. We get money from Stanley based on their electronics division and who they employ. And then we pay for the Kenny Boulevard extension out of that fund.
That's really low. Pardon me?
We get it once a year.
At the end of next month.
After, yeah, when we get the second settlement, then I will invoice Stanley for the remaining portion. We get up to 182,000.
But otherwise, you think we're pretty much on track. There isn't anything that is shocking to you at this point, anything we have to adjust for at this point?
At the moment.
All right. And that's including the fact that the tax revenue appears to be down a little bit.
It is down. I wish I had an answer for that, but I'm sure.
Well, that's not, I'm just, how much does that concern you with for the remainder of the year?
Oh, I hate being down at all, but hopefully it doesn't stay that way.
All right. All right, anything else from the auditor? Nope. Department head updates. Sue, enlighten us.
Everything's well. Everything going well. Thank you. Don't you wish they were all that went that smooth?
Good news.
It's a well-oiled machine. I don't know what else to tell you.
Let's hear it from our favorite department, the tax department.
Yeah, we would.
Sorry.
For July, we brought in $504,946.67. That's the general fund. We were down 11%. And for fire, we brought in $267,473.33, and we're down around 11% for that. And for the year, we are sitting at $3,544,144.55. We're down 2.2% for the general, and for fire, we are down 1.45%.
Amazing to me that the last 3 months for general fund and the fire department are exactly the same. I never see that. They are never exactly the same.
And I looked into it. So I know you had emailed me and had questions about the new houses and everything that's coming in. So we are up in individual deposits. The one that's getting us right now is the net profit accounts. We had one big player last year that had made a large estimated payment, which then made an overpayment. So they carried that over. So they didn't make that estimated payment this year. It was received in July of last year. So that's getting us. And then Intelligrated Honeywell, we no longer get any funds from them at all now. That ended last year. And some of that money we did get in July also for their net profit. Withholdings are up like 149,000. So we are, collecting from that. But right now it's just the net profit that's really killing us.
All right, any questions? Thank you. Raquel,
I have nothing. Thank you.
you're welcome. Steve?
So your investment in the new police building hopefully is coming to fruition soon. The last thing we're waiting on is Securitas, who is the one that installed all of the security items, including the automatic door locks and the access code system is required before we get our permanent occupancy permit. They were supposed to be there today. Actually, they said they were there today, but they weren't. They're supposed to be tomorrow morning. So hopefully there's only a few more items to get done. We'll move forward to get that and start moving in. Actually, they started moving in already into the temporary. So we're going to see final occupancy approved so they can actually move in and start using it. I think the only thing that'll be required on top of that then is state jail. After they're actually in the building, that type of inspection of the jail, the state jail inspector has to come.
How many?
Is that just like a holding tank for?
So they have 3 cells. They're actually 12-hour cells under the law. I think our intent is to keep 6 or under, but they have to meet the requirement under a 6-hour holding cell.
Can they go ahead and move in and start utilizing the new building once the security stuff, the security stuff that we're waiting on, does that count the gate and the fencing?
Now, just just so the door controls.
Yes.
Just like, it's the same system we have here,
Mhm.
and the cameras and it also controls the pole, so that's the only part that. we can get our
Important stuff.
Will not include the gate
Okay.
around the outside. That's not part of what's going to be required for
Okay.
the approval. And once they get that, then they'll be able to move in, do everything but the jail until that's approved. That should just be a matter. I think the guy who lives in London or West Jeff actually is going to do it. So,
You've been waiting on them since before the ribbon cutting, right?
Securitas, yes. Yeah, they've not been great.
Shame, because the new building is fabulous.
It is, yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
Working out some little details in the doors and things. Hopefully,
No, they're excited to get in there. Start using it.
Where are we at, financially with that, do you think?
I had concerns about our final monies on Securitas because of some movement of money. I think we're sitting pretty good everywhere else. The only other things outstanding are, can you help me out? What was that? The appliances. We're just waiting for that. The furniture, you've asked for money to be,
I have 4 invoices that I sent to do draws for the grade. I don't know where we are with pay applications or anything, but I know.
yeah, I think we're still waiting for another payout. Kind of hard to tell the way they do it, a little bit different, but I have one concern about Securitas just because it looks like they took funding from a different account to pay some of that. And we may or may not have everything we have to have for it. So I really won't know till I see the final invoice. So other stuff looks like it's there. Unfortunately, I don't see us being under budget, which would have been nice.
All right, anything else?
No. The sanitation, we continue to do the cleanup of that. So I think vehicles, because of the storm last week, we intended to cancel the leases, have them pick them up. That couldn't get done because we didn't have time to work on the trucks. Hopefully that will be done by Wednesday this week. Return those leases, be able to cancel the insurance on those. The rest of the cleanup continues. We did Saturday they open. Friday and Saturday. Yeah, Friday and
And then
Saturday.
they'll be back open this Friday.
Has that been announced yet?
Yeah, they didn't put it on Facebook.
I saw it.
I haven't been on there.
Yeah, all day.
Monday or
Friday all
Friday
day.
all day. So while they were there for last Saturday, I think they did some additional cleanup of the building, organize the stuff.
It was pretty busy.
Files, yeah.
Was it? I wondered how many residents took advantage.
Well, and I wonder this doesn't have anything to do with finance, but, just the discussion of, we've got the chipper. Is there any thought where they're gonna send the chipper out?
I don't, it's not been discussed yet to send it out to do. You talking about to send it around the city?
Yep. Cause there's gonna be people that don't have the trucks to put the stuff in and they don't wanna pay somebody to come haul it down to the dump. And even if they did, they better have their,
We've been letting them in if they're city residents, even if they're small, because for that reason exactly. But, we discourage commercial, but some of them are picking up stuff in the city to do it, so. Street department's in training yesterday and half tomorrow, pre-scheduled training for OSHA. So they've been busy with doing those pickups and that, and a number of people called, like even 2 and 3 days after the storm, even Friday, I think we're still getting calls for things. So still addressing. I think we had a couple that were in right away, Sister Hen right away, so we had to pay for that. We could have done it, but it's on the building and we would accept that liability, so to take care of that.
A little bit bigger than what we could
Yeah,
handle to it.
right next to the library, that tree. That was huge.
I didn't know who the hell owned it, but yeah, that.
Yeah, well, and I'm not sure it's still Sister Hen, I think. Used to be a dentist
Back in the day.
back in the day.
And then we talked, and this isn't really also an issue but just out of conversation that we had, the notification on some of the billing for Mid-Ohio. And you explained to me that some people were prepaid and some people were paying after the service was rendered, which, I thought all of it was afterwards. but
So apparently, and I want to say of 2020, the system changed when they did billing, the billing system changed. Prior to that, for sanitation, for trash collection was always paid in advance. After that, but everything else in sanitation was in arrears afterwards. So all your other part of your bill.
right, if you had special pickup
Or other parts, water and sewer. So approximately a week before the end, Carol and Jane, I think, determined that, or figured that out, and they contacted us about how we'd like to go forward, but there's no way to separate the bill from those. So anybody that had, so what you would have is someone called the old neighborhoods, would have been under the old system. They prepaid, so they would have already paid in July for July. And then the new builds from 2000 on would have been paying after. The message, you can't charge the people that already paid again to collect that money, and there was no other way to distinguish according on the billing. So they would have noticed no charge for the sanitation July bill. I'm sorry, I keep saying sanitation. Yeah, it's sanitation.
Yeah.
Trash collection.
so how does that affect the residents, and how, it shouldn't, if nobody's gonna be billed for it, how does that affect us? Are we paying for?
We just ate the cost of those people that we have no idea how many, because they can't tell us. Like who had paid before, who didn't, they say they had no way. I think in the how that read was basically,
much.
they couldn't tell you who was in the old system versus.
So eating the cost that's coming out of the sanitation funds?
Yeah, just no income, so, yeah. Yeah, it just won't show in the income.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
It's not gonna be an expense.
no expense, no.
Because we're not collecting anything on it.
No. I mean, it's still a hit on income, but no additional cost.
Right. Do you have any questions for Steve? Shannon, do you have any questions for Steve? All right. We'll move on to,
Rick, can I just bring up?
oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you guys received my email, seeing as we're at a committee meeting, I thought I would bring it up, the email about the CIC legislation. So I know Tommy had a couple questions, I hope I answered those. Didn't know if anyone else had anything, especially why we got the lawyer here with us too. Got any questions about that legislation?
They, I'm just curious about the process that they would employ. Is that just the general listing? Does it go up for auction? Does it, do they have a real
I mean, we
estate
can
agent?
pretty much do it how we want. Our thoughts are, and we're still working through this, is that it would just be, we would take offers on. And put it out there to the public, let people put in offers and go from there. Pick what not only what the highest is, but what the best fit is. This was done way back in the day with the old armory. Well, when I was on council, CIC sold it. And I believe that, if I remember correctly, there was a couple people that put in for it, and one was for more money. But we ultimately went with the daycare because we knew we needed more childcare, and this was going to expand childcare within the city. And they went with a lower bid, but because it fit better in the city.
It's gonna be a hard place to use.
Yeah, but we already do have interest. I will say that. We already do have interest.
I know.
My only comment on that is I don't see where it's an emergency, so I won't vote to suspend.
Oh, I'm not saying suspend. Suspend and emergency are two different things.
I understand that, but it's
So-
not always felt that way up there.
Huh?
It doesn't always feel that way up there.
Well, that's fine. Like, we're still in that building, right? So to suspend the 3 reading rule is not, I don't think, necessary at this next meeting. It's going to be a little bit, but the one thing is that, once we get the security over there and they start moving, and whenever what council meeting comes, if it's the 3rd reading, We just didn't want to have to wait that 30-day period after the third read is what the emergency was for, so we can immediately go and try to sell that. So we don't have to insure it, we don't have to pay electric on it, we don't have to do all those expenses for an empty building. So it's, the 3 reading rule is, in my mind, different than emergency. The emergency is just even after the 3rd reading, we don't have to wait that 30 days after.
I understand that, but I don't know. I don't know that that always feels that way up there when they see emergency clause, like, well, we got to suspend it today. Well, we don't. I understand that it just,
I mean, we're.
does away with the 30
I mean,
days.
We're not gonna sell it until.
right.
So they're out. So.
And then to go along with Shannon's question, you know, who's going to set that criteria? The best fit. I mean, we know there's at least one nonprofit that's interested. Not that they'll buy it. I don't know that they can buy it, but there's at least one nonprofit that's interested in trying to get that space. I think they've talked to you. So, you know, who sets the criteria on what's the best fit? Because if we give the CIC permission to sell it, does it come back to us for final approval, or do they just get to sell it? And if that's the case, then are we going to set a criteria up front?
Let me double check that before Thursday. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. But the city as a
Yes.
whole, the CIC is not going to sit down with the CIC board and go, okay, this is who we're selling to. That's not how that is done. It's going to be what the city, but I'm trying to remember if I can't remember, we haven't done this in so long, if that has to go back to city council, but, so I'll double check.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to old business. You didn't have anything else, Pat? We'll move on to old business. I know that I'm going to ask to go into executive session about the elected officials. We don't have to do that immediately. We have 2 other items if we want to hit those first. The background checks.
So I'm working with a company called Guardian. We've not, so they're out on the West Coast. We've not yet set up a meeting. I did confirm, and I'll be honest, Greg, I can't remember what I talked about the last time, but they offer leveled services. So personal history questionnaire, certain parts of background investigation that they would do. And then that they also have like the full on for like the police and fire side of follow up on even providing information, follow up for references. Sorry, I couldn't think of what I was trying to say. And some of that information, we're going to set up with the department heads, the 4 department heads, meeting, like an online meeting with them to share basically what their company can do for us, and we can take a look at that and see. And then same thing with the background checks, like how much of that will be done. Although ultimately on the police and fire side, the minimum we do is still send them to, right now we send the sheriff's office for the PCI checks. And regardless, we would still have to do that. That would still be done. And then hopefully after we figure that part out, we can move forward with a written policy on how, you have to keep in mind, every department has different needs, like different requirements, I should say, for, again, police and fire, it's a little bit clear. They have a little bit higher need for the criminal background and some of the stuff they have to do because of what they deal with, and maybe a part-time street driver, or, they all have a little bit different needs. So we need to make sure that what we're doing meets the needs of all and not trying to push somebody to the edge. It doesn't, or at least find another path to make sure that requirement also.
Yeah, because it was noted in the minutes last time that you had talked to Guardian, or at least
Okay.
had that discussion. That you said you talked to Guardian that does verification for personal questionnaire disclosures, and there's a cost to, I don't know what that cost is.
So cost is, I have a little bit of a cost. So the PHQ is free, which is good. I don't think I knew that last time when we met with them. So where we put that out to literally everybody, there's no charge. The charge is billed after. So we still have to figure out. The biggest issue has been people on vacation, getting all of us on the conference call at the same time. For that last month between fair and our fair and state fair and vacations, I haven't been able to get everybody on the same time. Maybe this week, more likely next week, if that's good. To have when I say conference call, he's gonna do it online, just like a Teams meeting and sell his product.
Okay. Yes, sir. Councilman Boyd?
Putting that back on February's agenda.
Alrighty.
You asked last time,
Well, hey.
we would consider discussing that, rescinding that. We can certainly discuss it. I don't know where it's gonna go, but you're here, and you're on the agenda, so.
Thank you much for letting me be a little delayed with traffic there, getting out of Dayton zone, so thank you much. Where I'd like to start is I sent out the email there with the three different documents there to kind of be able to reference if you'd like to look at anything going over this. Anybody else that didn't get it, I think Steve, Pat, and Carol probably weren't on the list. But where this mostly began, chasing down all the footage and everything else of how did we get to this point was 2020, we had our fire station combined with our EMTs. This had a $252,000 income that was coming from the county that was removed. And so what was said within the videos, the meetings, was how we were in need of actually helping support these stations, departments. And even in 23, I know it was, hey, we can clearly see that, yes, the fire station was finding itself going into a deficit. And so how we kind of went about this was the deduction was removed. And so this 0.5% deduction affected 1,241 people and had a 247,000 number that was taken away. And so it seems like that was marked there to kind of help offset that 252,000. And so our kind of biggest interest lately has been, hey, how could we put that back in place? Even with right now, our numbers are possibly looking short. And so that was one of the bigger things that I looked into was how much have we grown then since that time? And so in 2020, our general fund was bringing in $4,141,821.41. And so the next year that went up to $4,735,533.19. And so right off the rip, it was almost a $600,000 gain. Since then, going off of this year's numbers, not even last year's, which, hey, we had a higher growth on our taxes coming in. After 7 months in, we are $614,316.80 higher than we were in 2021. If we took this back to the 2020 before this was removed, we are now $993,858.05 higher than we were at that time. And so for the amount of people that this affects and to, have shown that 247,000 number last time, I believe these numbers reflect that we have seen the amount of growth that would be able to possibly offset this. Now, why else would we want to do this? First off is quality for the families. If we're working outside the city and paying a full income tax, coming back to pay another entire full income tax is difficult. And so that would be one route that, hey, we want to help feel the needs of our community. Another one would be the large amount of the new renewal that is coming back. I know that this would help a large amount of people feel like, hey, this is something that you're taking care of the individuals that do work outside of this city. And so we might be able to see a little bit more of that coming back towards us as support for that when it does come back up. Other income sources. While we have this that, would be nice to be able to bring back, there are a couple other things that I would like or hope we can continue to look into. I know that we've chatted with the prison items, and so I've gone out and actually found reference from Mayor Martin over in West Jeff, who said, it wouldn't be the first time it's thought of, bringing them into the city and then being able to offer something for their development and kind of production. So I was hoping that today I can kind of pass that off to you at least, then for maybe the city.
Pass what off?
Pass off the reference or kind of a name of the Bricker and Graydon that they were using for just being able to look into, being able to find something to offer out to the prison to have them annex into the city. But, that's another source of income. We also have Honeywell still that, once we have that filled, that'll be another source. So I feel we have extra funds still available for the city to tap into. But continuing to say that, hey, we have taken away something that is specifically in place to decrease double taxation of citizens is a little bit tough. I'll kind of end on, I brought it up at the new councilman orientation training seminar there. I was at the back, and when I brought up, are we allowed to remove a out of city income tax deduction to help with the general fund? The room went silent. You could hear, just by the amount of people, and even had to say, oh, no, he's right. You could do this if you wanted to. But it's one of those that shows this is a moral conflict also of kind of, hey, how do we feel about this? And so while yes, it was necessary for helping alleviate funds that were needed for the fire station, at this point being almost $1 million higher halfway through the year, 2025, seeing what their general fund kind of final number was, probably the only other thing that I was gonna hope to bother you for today, but I didn't even really worry about it too much. And so I'm seeing, yep, where those are, I'd like to see if I could look into bringing it back up. Oh, I am sorry, because the other part for why is this a good idea is House Bill 503. That one will have states possibly going through and analyzing and looking at cities that have removed these deductions and saying, why was that necessary? The other point of 503 is that you may have citizens that can go and get petitions signed for getting a 1.5% deduction instead. And so hopefully, once again, keeping that 0.5% deduction already out there for them.
You said House Bill what number, please?
503.
I have copies of it if you guys want it. I went ahead and printed them because I think you might have asked. It has not, it's only passed to the House. It's pending right now for everyone else, but I don't know if you guys want to look at it. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna.
And so those would just be possible future items for us
You
to.
have to have 10% to get it passed. I
Thank you.
highlighted the important section in there that you speak on.
Thank you.
You probably already have it, but do you want one?
Oh, I give
You got it,
just
okay.
kicked over there.
If you
Thank
want it, I know you already saw it, but.
So I remember reading the synopsis of this. I don't know, it was a couple months ago, I think that I read that, and I haven't went back to look at it since then. For some reason, I thought it would change, how businesses or how cities could do some of these things moving forward. But I don't remember all of the details, and I don't know if Raquel's familiar with this or not.
I'm sorry, I was having another conversation. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Well, are you familiar with this House Bill 503 and what it can and can't do?
I am not. I have not looked into this one. I haven't had a reason to yet.
And it would take it away from council actually taking it away or putting it in place. It was a big part of it. And so,
I don't know that,
They're not taking it away from council. They're just making it to where council can't make the decision. They have to go to the voters.
oh,
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Is
yeah.
it
They
takes
have
it
to
away
do that.
from
Right.
7 people doing it.
Can't change what's done.
You can bring a credit to.
Right,
You can bring a new one, but
Yeah, a new one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going backwards.
No.
no.
Saying we did it wrong before.
Yes, it does give the residents the chance to take it to the ballot on their own. As long as they have, I think it was 10%.
Which is terrible.
Yeah. But that's
It's not too many.
10% of,
But
10%, 800 is not too many.
Well, they'd have to have,
it's terrible
eight-
when people could have a decision that, well,
well, that's
we
eight,
financially impact the
That's a
city,
little
so.
scary.
yeah.
but that's
That's
800.
like, no offense, but it coming forward from people who aren't as familiar with the budget.
But that's 806 ballot signatures they would have to get just to get it on the ballot.
that's correct.
Yeah, but if you
Yeah.
go door knocking, who's not gonna want?
wouldn't it,
Yeah.
maybe it would have to be,
Registered voters, all that would have to be checked.
it would have to be registered voters that pay the tax. right? Because it has to be your,
Well, I know they have
of
to
your
be within
sample
the
study.
city. I
It's
am not
just
sure.
registered voters.
Yeah,
But-
registered
Yeah, the
voters.
referendum or. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. On that.
Everybody else that just wants to chip on in. But yeah, I think those are kind of good reasons for us to be
Yeah.
ahead of it instead of holding it back and saying, you
I
know,
just
other
think it'd
cities
be- I would,
won't put your house out if it's on fire.
no. I live outside of the city of Springfield now. Yeah,
Do you?
so I just pay London tax, but I don't live here. So I pay it.
Well, that's good, because if
Yeah.
fireman comes to save you, you're gonna need him.
In my office, yeah.
There's no secret, no, I'm
Strict.
1,000%
I pay
against
down
it.
with that.
Tommy and I have had multiple conversations. We are not on the same page, which is okay, because my job is to protect the city's finances. As you guys can look at the reports, we're down in tax revenue. I think right now to even consider it is, I hate to use the word crazy, but I just think we're nowhere near in a place to be able to give back to people when we want to see so much more for our community. We want to see growth. We want to see road improvements. We want to see sidewalk improvements. Everybody in the world out here would love to see a community center. So I think if you consider all of those things, the tax credit, we're not going to be able to do all of those things. Along with the tax credit.
There's 1,241 people that are currently paying.
That was in
I know.
2020.
Yeah.
And
so
we've
that's
added
significantly
500
more.
houses
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
of the new builds, we all know the jobs aren't in London right now. So
Right.
the
right.
majority of the new builds are gonna get the credit.
Back then, that amounted to about $200 per person.
Who, let's see,
I'd have to look.
I mean,
And I personally think,
$200
looking
per.
at just the revenue side, that's not the budget. Like
I don't know
the
if I figured
expensive
per person. I think I
expenses
did it
have
as a whole,
grown
but, I
significantly.
mean, you could,
over the course of these past 5 years as well. So you can't just look at the revenue and say we have an increase of revenue. You've got to look at the expense side as well.
well, and I think, if somebody handed each one of us $200, that's a lot of money to put in your pocket.
Yeah.
But over a whole year, $200 to a person isn't as much, is not as impactful as if they handed someone $200. So I don't know, just something to think
And
about.
the only reason that you're giving that back to them though is because they paid that full amount to another city.
They
So I mean,
voluntarily.
there really isn't.
But they
That's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a choice.
They
I
live
mean, they
here
voluntarily
too.
moved here, right?
Yes, that's
And all
the
these
same.
people that are building houses right now completely understand what's going on with our taxes, and they're
Yeah.
still.
even if we like estimated, say 1,600 people, because I know it was 1,241 in 2020. If we say 1,600 people, and I'm just guessing, our system doesn't track that right now. Unfortunately, because we don't do the credit, our system just doesn't track it, which I wish it did. It would help us so much with all of this. But if you have, say, 1,600 people, say their income was $65,000, and you give them the 0.5% credit because they work outside, that'd be $520,000 loss to the city. Yeah, and that would hurt.
Yeah.
And that's just, and I feel like that's a low number, because if we're at 1241 in 2020, I'm sure it's,
Do we have any idea on what the 2025 general fund total was then?
The general
Would you be able to,
fund.
Yeah.
total, Like what we.
or
received.
tax,
2025.
yeah, kind of the
Yeah,
tax
I
year
think
total?
Yeah, it's right here,
Where is that?
second column.
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna-
Well, actually, it's not the whole year. I'm
It's not
sorry,
gonna
it only
show you
goes
just
July.
Yeah, and
But
because I
can
mean,
Give you that. but-
once again, for being 7 months through the year and still $600,000 higher than we were in 21, let alone 900.
Talk about 5 years of inflation also.
Yeah.
That's
right.
$122,000
Tommy, that's-
annually. We can, one invoice with an IT upgrade is that amount of money.
Well, Tommy, so I think,
You said in
here's a couple
2025?
points I'm gonna make. The 252,000 that you included as income was income for the fire department. There was also an expense for them to run that service. So we got paid 252. What was the expense? What was the net? I don't know what that was. We just know that was an income. And yes, you can say that, the income's up, but what has been the inflationary cost over that time? And people get pay raises, right? So they get the pay raises. That number's going to go up just because people get pay raises, but then our expenses have went up, just our health insurance alone. And I'm not arguing necessarily that I think this is a bad idea. but I think that maybe your assumptions may not be as complete as you think they are because there are other things, our expenses, the health insurance loans probably average, 4 to 5% a year over those years, I would guess. There's 25% just over 5 years in the health insurance cost. That's a cost that we have to take on regardless, so I think it's hard to balance what you're trying to balance here when we only have half the information.
I think when we also looked at the list of cities that I had given out also, I'm sorry, I don't have that one. I guess that would have been good to bring also. But it has been mentioned how few don't give away this deduction. And so, I understand, yes, with funds, it might not be exactly where we are, but when it comes down to, hey, how are we generally taxing the people of the city and having them pay for things?
Can I ask a question? So you work in the city of Dayton.
Yes.
How much of credit did they give you when you're there for 8 hours a day and you're here for 24? How much did Dayton give you in credit?
You get no credits
Why did they not give you credit?
because there's no way I can change these things.
Okay, but you
That's
see
just
our
how,
argument?
yes, but don't see why you are arguing where they
Because I'm
would
looking
change
out for the city.
something that can't be changed.
It
But
can be
we
changed.
are the ones that can change something. No, they can't.
Why can't they change it?
To what? Where they give income tax
you are-
deductions to the people that live in different cities and work there?
Collect
Is that what
only
you're
for the
saying?
8 hours, yeah. Why is that wrong?
Hey,
I
if you
mean,
can
do you
find
not
other
see a
cities,
fundamental-
but it's not doable.
So-
And I can look into it, but I'm pretty
So-
sure we went through that wasn't even an option.
But
Yeah,
You're missing my
it's
point.
not.
I'm talking about the fundamental issue of the city of London is protecting your assets 24/7. They're only protecting your assets in Dayton for the 8 hours you're there. And they collect everything. Columbus, the same way. I worked in Columbus for years. They did the same thing. So
They make sure nobody in Columbus though is paying over 2.5% because they give a full deduction.
Well,
and that's the-
I'm just saying, if you bring up
And
Columbus
that's another thing that,
Columbus gets a little bit
we're
extra, too.
talking about other cities
to
giving
their
credits.
homeowners,
When
Working
we're
other
talking
cities?
about other cities giving credits, I hope you give the information of what what they tax everybody, right? So if it's 2.5%, 3%, and then they're giving, and what they give back. Remember, we're at 1.5%, which is a 0.5% lower than pretty much anybody and everybody that is our size. So I think you need to look at that aspect too, right? Like,
look at what Dayton's giving us back.
no.
What
You
they
said,
tax.
you talked about other people that give tax credits,
Okay.
right? Other municipalities that give tax credits. I think a good point would be, well, what is their tax rate, right? If their tax rate is 3% and they're giving you 1% back, they're still collecting 2% off of it,
2.5's the highest, I'm pretty sure, but
right? And
that's where lots of them, I get you. But at the same time, it's,
I mean, our tax rate's so low compared to people our size and pretty much anybody in the state of Ohio.
So if I can, I want to address when you said you didn't know why I was arguing that. So I'm arguing because that money is significantly needed for the city to continue to grow. Last meeting, you talked about building a firehouse. Well, we're not going to build that firehouse if you take that 0.5%. I can guarantee you there's not going to be money in the future to pay those bonds.
Even if
And that's
this
just one
renewal
issue.
doesn't pass, that's gonna be significant money, and I've seen posts, and I know we disagree on that as well. I just caution you to be careful with posts, because it's stated new, or it is new, but it's not different or changed from our previous, it's what we've always collected, and I just think people are getting the wrong impression that with the verbiage extra 2.1 mil.
Oh, yeah.
It's making people think that it is new and extra on top of what we've been doing.
yeah.
And God forbid, if we can't pass that.
If we can't pass
If we
that,
can't
like,
pass
I
that
mean,
and then give a credit.
I mean, just before you started down this conversation, you said it appears that we're down. At that very moment, we got to protect the city, and you as a council member should be at the foremost of that, in my opinion.
And I'm still, looking at when this was removed, it was for an emergency need. Now we're saying it's for a general operating need.
It is.
And
Moving
so
forward,
that's
the
where-
expenses are increasing significantly, and we just don't have it to give back right now. I think the importance of seeing London grow and the expenses is more important at this point.
I'm going to talk about later.
Hang on, Sue.
No,
So
it's okay. I hate to keep drilling into a hole that's already been dug into, but if I live in this city, I want my house protected, and anybody else should too. And if I work in this city, I want my business protected, and anybody else should too. And that's my choice where I live. Maybe not as much where I work, because sometimes you are dictated by where you have to make a living. But I see no reason to not tax people. And I've
We're not
worked
saying
all
not tax
my
people.
life. I'm not saying to take it away. I'm not saying to take it away either. I mean, it's there. If we can improve, if in the best scenario, London had all this money, why shouldn't we? And that is more of a reason to people to want to live here with the things we offer. We have a good council that's moving forward and doing stuff, and I appreciate that. And I'm not for taking away. We need the tax money, not for just giving someone a windfall.
Tommy, you asked what revenue in December of for the year of 25.
Yeah.
Is it income tax or total general funds? I pulled up my report.
General fund.
General fund received $6,577,299.88 in 2025.
And so, I mean, even that would look like, yeah, we're,
Which 4.8 of that was in.
I've got 4.8. I'll go through those ones and double check, because yeah, you're right, I don't want to blurt out anything else, and I'll kind of look over those. You know, that will be our next one to kind of look into, hey, where are we at then?
Is there
As a
something
total.
I can help you with to better understand the budget? Because I think
No, it's
somebody
all
from a budget
understandable.
perspective to look
It's
at
all-
the numbers to see.
But when I'm showing
and to-
still
to even start a
900,000,
Conversation of we're short, it looks like we're short this year. I just can't imagine why we would bring forward a credit at this point.
So maybe the question that needs to be asked, what was the expense budget in 2020? And what is the expense budget now? Because you're talking about an income budget, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I think you have to look at both,
yeah,
what the income, what the expenses were. And I think we're probably closer than you think on that. Although, I'll say it now on this meeting, this being recorded, I thought it was uncalled for to take that credit away permanently. If they needed to do it for a year because they were worried about COVID, I would understand that. And that could have been a choice council could have made, do it 1 year at a time and say, we're not gonna give the credit this year because we feel that we're in financial distress. And then they could have reinstated that. A lot of places do it on a yearly basis. So I actually agree that it shouldn't have been taken away once it was offered and brought in. So, okay, any further discussion from Tommy?
good, thank you very much.
Do you have any questions for Tommy?
No.
Do you want to take any action for this right now?
I don't.
I don't.
Okay,
No.
Tommy, I appreciate you bringing this back.
I would say
I mean, I think it's a discussion that has to be had.
Hey, we've had it, yeah, it's gotten out there, and hey, moves from here, so, thank you much though.
All right. All right, so the other item we had in old business was the elected officials. Your salaries. I would like to move that we go to executive session. Second, all right. So we'll go into executive session at 6:27 PM for the purpose of discussing elected officials' salaries. Does that meet your needs?
Yeah.
Legally, does that meet the needs of what we need to do?
Yeah.
All right. You want to go there or do you want to go to the council?
They left the last time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would say there's.
There's fewer of them than us.
I'm talking about my stuff. Leave.
Something.
$806 signatures.
It's okay. She's just okay. So she knows what's going on like too.
Oh, do they? Okay. Did you guys start school today, kids? No? Yes.
Been since last Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. Just last Tuesday?
London starts tomorrow.
What's for you?
Smart elementary.
Eastmont Elementary.
So I've been at it for 2 weeks now.
Students started or last week.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Where's Eastmont?
That's
Yeah,
early.
so I had to be saying, what? There's alarms going off at home and my kids there? Oh, yeah.
Do you guys get out earlier than?
4
those
o'clock.
then? No, I mean, not, I'm
They
sorry. I
would
meant
be-
Oh,
here.
no,
I'm sorry.
we're still in till May 23rd-ish.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on there?
School, but like Madison Plains now, they go all the way through the end of May. Like they went to school after
Classroom.
Memorial Day.
You're there to
So
four.
what do they get off, 2 weeks?
For all days before, yeah.
Students still.
They're heading out, so dismissal, yeah, they kicked us.
Well,
Teachers.
Gotta
They
just
can
get it done.
read-
Nothing
Spring
against,
break.
nothing against Plains.
Free
Oh,
play.
8:30.
They'll
You and
schedule
young ones, all right?
Yeah.
a longer school year.
It's a nice little.
Freaking Plains.
I forgot. you
Right.
told me.
because
Oh,
I'm glad because I can
they're
drop the
always
kid
the
off at
first
high
ones to
school and then I
call.
can
Well,
drop
they're in the
him.
middle of nowhere.
Third biggest district. in
12
Washington
years I've
State.
been waiting for my own
Yeah, so
bathroom in my hall.
that's what I'm saying, so they'll,
So Miami Trace, no?
I think there's somebody ahead of us and Trace. That's what I heard forever ago. I don't know.
I
I know we're
They're pretty
separate.
happy. Last year
And
was,
Miami Trace.
we
is
had
ahead
multiple
of us,
broken
but
bones.
That's
I'm
why we
like,
both.
one
That's
broken
in
bone
Ohio?
is PE teacher's
That's
almost
it's like-
multiple
In
broken.
elementary.
And I don't know.
Northeastern.
Oh, yeah.
What, did you bid for this job or they transferred?
It was, we were 8 through 12.
County.
So
You either go to
Great
the
PE
city,
teacher and
you live in
they went to
the
9 through
county,
12.
the whole rest of the county
got
goes to
bumped
Trace.
out and he kind of, hey, here's what schools are open. And
It goes to Mount Sterling.
cool. So they told me that one was a pretty good one and it was 5 minutes closer to
But
home.
anyway,
Driving at 55. But yeah, and so it worked out well. I'm happy. Guy was not very happy that I was sitting next to at the teacher kind of professional something. He was like, yeah, I got.
Oh,
Was that his?
yeah. Parents didn't care.
If they did start, you didn't go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, another school based on this, your
'Cause I-
position at that.
Yep, mine is a professional license PK through 12. And so doesn't matter which school I'm in, I'll go on in and do health or PE if you need it. And so I've definitely had to crank that dial way.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, even
How many
spots.
classes do you have a day?
7 of them. Yeah. And so I finish off with first in kindergarten. Today was kindergarten's first. They gave us the first week without them.
Now, do you have like, what grades do you have?
K through 6.
K through 6, so
Yeah.
like, that's a.
Then I'll see all of them every single day. And so within 3 days, I will see every single kid in that school.
They have gym every day?
Yep, well, you'll have A, B, and C. And so A will have it, then one day B. and C.
Oh, I
So
see, so
yeah.
3 days.
I can see full 12 of it. They're lucky to teach it. I'm only a couple tiers so far. No, you're not just running in my room. And that ball that just flew by my head had a feet. No, Mr. Boyd, don't deal with that.
Oh, okay. Mine's like that.
Eve took my picture from her computer and I don't know why.
She
It
doesn't
was
have
like
broken
Aussie
bones
on
in
her.
her anymore.
Like, my face is really pale.
That's why
My hair looks
it's like
black.
gymnastics,
I don't
the
even
saw
look like
horses and
myself.
balance beams and stuff. That entirely got taken out. Of lawsuits, you know, it falls off here. Oh, those did.
Well, they're not properly trained to deliver.
I'll give you one story from the guy that was teaching me through, and one of the first. Tell me, yeah, kid comes in, all the safety pads are there, but she falls off, breaks her arm. Calls parents, dad comes in, says, I played football in high school, she's fine.
Oh, no, because I.
Arm heals wrong. Has to have multiple reconstructive surgeries then to get her arm correct. And the school is the one that takes the lawsuit from her because
But we did talk about.
somehow, yeah, he said not to go to the hospital. It's ridiculous, the amount of eggshell that you have to walk on, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I get it.
Mine's just, you better keep that ball in your station. However, it's so much easier than 6'2" rowdiness. Well, I did love my high schoolers last year. More tattoos than me. Yeah.
Full age.
I haven't even read that, anything from that last post. I haven't even looked at that last post yet. The one going over the 1 mil property tax. I
I
mean,
think that's gonna confuse more people. 'Cause if we
you
change.
get my
the way we're
concept on it, though?
taxing-
What time?
Because if we change the way we're taxing, that's gonna get people in an uproar rather than just keeping it status quo. Because it's not, the renewal is not based on your new home value. It's on your old. So it's not gonna be an increased tax on anybody. It's the same. Probably less because we have more houses.
Oh, yeah. And that's where I'm wondering if though we want to change it to something where it doesn't decrease. That way, as more homes come in, it actually stays at
But
the
people
same
would-
price
people
because
would see an increase though, because if you do something new, it'd be based off of current home value.
Everybody pay more.
So it'd be more.
Yeah, I know my property value doubled
Yeah.
when they built all those houses over.
The only
outside
reason
of
we're
Springfield. We got screwed
Able
on
to
that.
do it the other way is because we've just done renewal, so it doesn't go up your new.
I get you, but do you get where I'm saying that us vamping it to where even if it's half a mil that we're
No, I
doing
think
to
you
go
know,
at
I
that,
think
but
any
then it
new
doesn't
tax is going
decrease
to have everybody
as
in an
houses
uproar,
come in?
rather than keeping things status quo and functioning how we are with anticipated new revenue with new builds and people moving to London.
Well, my thought is, hey, we say everything else isn't getting cheaper, but that's the only thing that gets cheaper. You know, it's
So
one
how
of
are we
those
gonna pay
things.
for all the things that are getting more expensive if we take away a source of revenue?
That's what looking into renewing it in a different way might be. You know,
You
in a
can't
way
renew
that
it in a different way. It would have to be.
it would have to be an entire different. Way. Oh, yeah. And
Then we all
so,
be paying more in
You
property
don't think,
taxes.
you think people would go for that more so than? a
Totally
renewal?
against property
Yeah.
taxes.
Oh,
Everybody-
who knows what's gonna
what
happen with
might
property?
get them to
I
go
literally
for
had
it
a meeting with Amanda. She was
Yeah.
like, you guys better put that on the back burner. 'cause
Would
there's
be-
no guarantees how that's gonna play out either.
Yeah,
We've got OP&F trying to increase rates for police. It's been in front of them forever to get them equal with fire. There's so many unknowns right now that you know my feeling on the tax credit. I will say no, probably at least.
I
for
mean,
the
even
next
if we were going off of old property values, but we're still at 2.1 for each person, you know, I don't
Still
feel
have
we
to
would
be-
be
we
in
still
this.
have to be a new, it would, we wouldn't.
I know, I'm just saying, I don't feel we
I'm
would
saying
be
you're
in a
not gonna pass
financial
a new one.
situation.
You're not gonna pass it.
And that's where, yeah, we're gonna have to, you know, vamp it towards something. If it was, you know, hey, community center, whatever else, you know, maybe have something like that.
You want a new income tax for a community center? Let's do it, 0.25. Let's go.
And that would be, yep, kind of what we look into.
Everybody gets to.
Oh, yeah. And so what would it take for us to get that on the ballot though?
The 0.25?
Just as a check.
Committee, council, try that already though?
Yes.
That's
Yeah. Yeah, and it,
didn't go up,
no.
because people just can't afford to
Yeah.
pay anymore.
No, they don't want to pay. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to pay
Uh,
more.
And that one in the
Here's
police
the thing,
station.
if anything goes to the ballot, to take off, I mean, everybody wants to pay less money.
Yeah,
Right.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Love
Yeah.
I think it's everything.
big ones.
Depends how much you're paying for groceries. Having it yesterday, just for the
Gas.
two of us, I'm like, I don't know how my daughter.
I saw gas was
For the four of them.
$4.49 the other day, and I was like, what is happening?
And it about.
Oh,
kills
gas?
me.
Wow.
It's not
$4.99.
$4.99. Grove City, it was $4.49. I was
It was
like,
$3.89 last week, I'm not sure.
And I had
Drive
a
everywhere, huh?
44.
oh, more expense for those who haven't had a raise in any years.
Yeah.
Diesel.
Oh,
$5.
Diesel?
I knew about that.
Which is an
They'll be in
advantage,
here.
but still, it's very expensive to fill it up, yeah, probably. Well, Joe has a diesel and it costs him probably, I
Tell me she
don't
would
know,
walk in.
over $100
Tell me
to
it's a
barely
walk.
Gas
fill
has
it
gotten
up.
more expensive in the past like week, and when I filled up last time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I
No,
paid
no.
$3.59, now it's $4.29.
it's like having a,
I'm gonna walk.
which is carpool, you trying to.
I would check it out, but it would take me probably 2 hours.
So the
Leave it free, yeah,
distance
leave-
that you're saving there,
Go
you're going
together.
around. yeah.
Listen, if it's -30 out, I'm working from home. I'm a fair weather walker.
I know, that's in Canada too.
Yeah.
So this winter, walk-ins, as long as it's about 42.
What's your next game? First game was tomorrow. Oh, yay. Where? Hayes Valley. Is that bad?
When I leave here, we have our first youth league practice tonight after open house. So I have the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders for volleyball.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh.
It's
I know, I was totally
It's fun
being
for them.
sarcastic.
It's fun for the kids.
Yeah, because they're probably not,
I know,
they're
I can't
serious and they're
imagine.
like,
Some of them have never
Now,
held the
the
ball
best thing I do
before.
is my high schoolers actually run practice and coach, like they are, my high school players are the little kids coaches. So they run practices, they coach them for games. That's the best thing I do. I'm just there to supervise. They run everything. And the little kids think it's the greatest thing.
Lemonville third grade football teams, they drive to Troy. And so is cheering for all of the residents here, they're cheering at to Troy. And then they're going to Tecumseh on a Sunday.
Oh, you should see the outfits.
Cheerleading.
They are cheerleading.
Seeing you.
How's that?
Yeah, I got her. Don't you worry.
Okay.
When you're little like that, you know,
Oh,
and then you
yeah.
have to stand in those
People
games.
sit on
Hang on
my
with
shoulders
shit,
all
but
the
still
time.
have that.
There's some
Yeah, but when
Slide
you're
over your
little,
neck.
yeah, oh.
Not what I heard.
So you're there for the first day of school tomorrow.
Are they? I don't know.
I think
No,
Riley's a
hang
little
on.
nervous.
I'm sure all the little kids are. She'll do great though. She's. Great.
She's in her room working right now.
I think
I'm sure it's nerve wracking with
She
that
said-
first teacher,
Yeah.
first day.
Oh,
Like,
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, they'll all love her. the
She
first
wants to
week,
tour.
And then.
They said they're gonna do it on TV.
What?
She only cancels because she still.
Yeah.
She was trying to
Oh,
get the
yeah,
day over
definitely.
with. She was trying to get the
Yeah.
day over with. She just didn't want to stay another hour.
That I can understand.
Tommy, would you say that if people work outside of London, that their salary is a little more than working inside a smaller community?
Depends. I mean, some, and even looking through the forms that we did have, look at New Albany in 2020. You're gonna see two people that work there. There was a sum total of $149,000 they made for their salaries. I was at $35,000. So,
Well, you gotta consider like.
no, you asked me a straight question. Do I get paid more? No, I didn't. And that was,
I think the question is, in general, don't most people work other than where they live to go make more money?
Yes.
it's to find a job for me. It's just fun work.
Right, but most people,
Yeah.
if you live in London.
It's, and
So you.
I mean,
so
lots
if
of
you
people
were
even-
to, out of curiosity, like if London had an opening, would it be more money or less than
compared to the charter schools, yes, it would have been more.
more?
Mhm.
Okay, so if we had a comparable
Charter's
charter school,
Possibly, I don't know London's pay scales. That's a big part there also.
I just always
Kinda
hear
know.
so many people, like friends and people, they're like, we work outside London because we can make more money. It's
I
more
was
than
gonna
gas
tell you.
money and wear and tear on vehicles and such.
But really,
They're
it comes
making
down
more
to,
money.
yeah, just finding money.
Yeah,
you know.
what have you, 'cause you're right.
And that's kind of where PE teachers like to get in and sit if they can for a good while. So,
Get in and sit, like stay there.
Yep. yep. And so
Is it easy? You like the little kids?
used to getting hit in the face with flying balls out of nowhere.
Hey,
You better have
keep
a-
your eyes open.
Oh, yeah.
Keep your eyes open.
I mean, I'll just say, like, even the one the other day that I'm following him around, like, give me that ball, like, stop kicking those things. And he finally rolls the ball to the side, turns around. I'm sorry. Just give me a little hug, like, "Arr, he's got this down. Like, but you got the special needs and lots of them with that in the school, and it's about what you get out of it. I still like running into my own kids around here. Yeah. Hi, Mr. Boyd. What's up, you guys?
Did you ever work here?
Mhm. First
Okay.
4 years were long-term because I was waiting for a spot actually. And then Jay Daniels at the time went for a 5th year and it's kind of like, hey, I got to get something. So I gave it a go and did subbing for custodian and 4 years of long-term spots. Got one of our athletes to 11th place in state for the 100-meter dash for track. It was fun. But yeah, it was just kind of, hey, onto the world of charter schools.
You're in charter school now?
No, this is my first time out of them. I love it.
I thought you told me DT school. I'm missing true.
Yep. It's interesting seeing how, all their high schools are pretty much total technical centers. Every single one of them offers those career ready paths that As soon as they come in, they're choosing, hey, if you want to go down in between the 6 different Dayton schools in that area, kind of choose, hey, I want to do this or that. Kind of choose the school you want to go to.
That's good.
So it was neat going with our 8th graders last year to visit the high schools. And it's funny, all the other 8th graders said like, are you guys ready for high school? Yeah. Ours have been with the high school. They're like, no, we know what this is. You're right. As the other kids that were sitting in lunch in high school. I love my positive examples for them. God. They did good. 18% graduation rate increase last year. So proud.
18%?
Mhm. Increase of
Oh,
18%. They went from 55 or 17%, 55% to 72% graduated last year. And so I was happy keeping them in the doors. There are about 3 that probably should have been kicked out for fighting. It wasn't pointed at me. And so, yeah, these ones are much calmer. They're all like, you came from where, Mr. Boyd? Oh, no. I live across the street from that school. Like, yeah, and there's a police station right in front of the school. So it's amazing how much of a problem you have when the cops are literally a fence hop away. I love it. It's a good place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like, we haven't even got the new. Landon asked me if I needed him here for his $100 donation. I told him yes, and didn't know why he didn't show up.
Here for him, so if you can send up the.
Just put it towards like 9 packs.
Yeah, add it to the agenda.
I cringed when I saw a donation after what we're doing. I'm like, no more donations.
I wondered, I was like, does Steve know this is coming?
I know it's coming, but I don't know the specifics about what are going. Yeah, he did discuss it.
Buy 8 more pool entries. Please, people, you're killing us. Make an emergency, like skip the 3 reading rule for donations. We gotta make one of those. Like, yeah.
I do think it's silly to not just get those passed.
Yeah, and then it's like in the same books as the other things. Yeah.
I agree, I don't see.
Yeah, I'm like,
Like, just, why do we have 8 readings of this for 3 weeks now? Like, God. And so I saw this donation, was like, oh, not another.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Come on, people.
hey, you can make a motion if you don't want it to go through.
We'll have to sit down and finite these things, because you're right, Tommy doesn't want to, do too much. Ooh, Tommy.
Oh my
I was thinking that
I
before.
understand a lot of them, but donation money, I'm like, why not pass it?
I mean, there's a lot, there's things that have to emergencies or that to waive and make it not emergency.
I was gonna say.
I don't agree when he said that there's no reason to waive, waiving that for the donation.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about the Cobras.
Oh, wait.
3 times,
Yeah.
Wait,
6
you're not
times.
here.
3 times.
Yeah, for fire
Yes,
ambulance, yeah.
Thursday.
Cheers on that. Would you like me to possibly formulate like, hey, a question for this Bricker and Graydon on maybe like what would be best to ask them about annexing for the prison? Or kind of see what's possible?
And why am I asking them anything, and what would you want me to ask?
Okay, and that's what I was looking into, because we had talked about how you thought that wasn't possible to offer an incentive for them to come in. I had seen a lot of the Ohio Revised Code that said it might be possible, and that's where.
I think we just have different definitions of incentives.
And that's where this company or law firm is specifically, hey, prone to annexations and annexation agreements, and was just gonna see if, you would be able to reach out to them about offering a percentage of the income tax that comes back to London for the annexation.
So do you think taxing all of their employees?
Once they come into the city, it would be 1.2 million coming in. And so what I'm saying is that the city says, hey, for the next 20, 25, however many years that we feel we could, we give you about $500,000 out of that 1.2 million. We're still increasing.
$1.2 million. You said $1.2 million in taxes yearly from
Yes.
them? From.
And this
from
is
the
from,
prison?
yes, this is from their director of operations that he agreed with. Yep.
That's what
They,
their payroll is?
oh, they have good
But
pay.
how do we offer to just give them $500?
And that's where we want to look into
Wait,
making
is
it.
this for London and Madison? Or just Madison? Which one are you talking to both of them or just one of them?
Prisons or what? Who?
Yes, the prisons, you're.
Yeah,
annexing
all of
both?
it. Yes, everything we could because the director looks over all of Ohio's prisons.
Does he
It's not
know
just,
what-
hey, there's
Does he
a
know what percentage
director
is
of
already
operations.
being paid to London for the people they withhold for who live here?
I think that'll be all with pro court.
But I will say that, you know, he did like this idea of, hey, if the largest issue they're having right now is the costs for housing inmates, then at the moment, you know, if there was some way to help improve and develop the prison, even putting solar panels up, getting rid of the energy costs, little things like that, you know, that's going to be stuff that helps them actually be able to bring more inmates in, bring in more guards. And
Their biggest problem right
Increase that.
now is getting people to work.
Yeah.
I
And I knew
just,
somebody
I
went
just,
back
met-
because they-
I just met with them.
Yeah.
And their biggest thing right now for all the ODRC is getting people to work there.
They need a
And that's
PT.
for all of the ODRC
Oh, it's
also,
out
you know,
here.
but this is
They
specifically, oh, they
need some
do,
APE.
they do.
I can hear
I've
them
seen them.
tapping on my box.
They really do have jobs
They
open
run
though.
with your
Yeah.
stringers.
But you know, that is kind of one that, I don't know if there's something we could maybe do. That's all I was hoping.
You know my thought on it. What you're wanting to do is not legal, so I don't feel comfortable or it's
Reaching out.
necessary for me to email a law firm
Okay.
when I know the answer.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't feel comfortable doing that.
I was recommended to at least, hey, let you give it a shot first, but I will go ahead and start chatting.
Maybe she told me to go to work.
Do you have it in writing from Ray Martin saying that you can do that, that you can pay, that you can collect annex something and collect taxes and then give that money back to that entity?
What it came out as is you wouldn't be the first person with that idea.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't giving me any
Oh, I bet
solid,
people
this
have
is
the
a,
idea.
this isn't a, wouldn't be the first one to do it. And so that's where, yeah, he
I
didn't
just
give
don't
a
know how-
solid,
I just don't know how the unions would let that go through out there.
That's
You're gonna
why-
Now start taxing.
that's why we talked to the operations and
Did they tell you to leave? Oh, wait, you're two out.
I lost
Thank
my
you.
board.
For your patience, I move that we exit the executive session and go back into our regular session.
Second.
And second, all in favor?
I.
Aye. Opposed? None? We'll enter back into our regular session at 6:51 PM.
Hold on, I lost my.
We happen to have any water in here? I think it's water.
There it goes.
Just to bring it every once in a while.
Nope. There's probably a couple up there.
Oh, man. Thanks.
We out?
Well, we're out of executive session.
All right.
Hey, some new paper showed up.
Yeah, I was like, wait, this isn't in my stack. Very.
Did I make the first motion then?
Well, we're back into regular session. We entered the executive session to discuss elected officials' pay. We're back in our regular session now. We've talked about this and had information for months and months and months. So would anybody like to move forward?
Yes. I'm gonna make a motion for the next election cycle for the city auditor increase to 82,500. To increase at 1.5% per annum.
That's the entire motion
It is.
for that. All right. So that was to increase the auditor to 82,500 plus 1.5% per annum for the remaining what?
That would be for the entirety of her next election cycle, which I
So
believe
the 4
would
years,
commence.
28.
Yes,
And then are you reevaluating at the end of is this gonna be a,
it'll have to be
Every
at
term?
every election cycle.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I can second if you don't want to second it. I don't die over here.
All right, Lisa's got the second. Is there any further discussion about this motion? Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I got it.
Any opposed? None. Okay, law director, did you pick up on that? It's gonna come to you to write it up. All right.
I have his next motion
We have another motion.
for the next election cycle for all elected officials.
Excluding,
A position to be advertised at the current rate of pay plus in 1.5 annual increase for the entirety of that election cycle.
we have a second.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and opposed? All right. This law director, did you catch on that too?
So keeping it where it's at, but adding the 1.5 increase, did I understand that?
Yeah, it'll have to be advertised at an increase of 1.5 for every year of the election term for however long that term is. All sponsored.
are you keeping these on one piece, like?
I'll do them
They'll all be separate?
separate. I think it's.
Each position will be separate?
Good question.
If you want, if it makes more mathematical sense to break it up by office, I'm okay with that, because this is across the board, but I understand the terms are different and the base pay is different.
I know in the past, the ones that I've looked at, they've all been on, like, all have been on the same piece of
One, maybe,
legislation.
you know what, that's probably safe. I would think. So maybe, and do you want to include the increase of the auditor as a line item in that other piece of
That
legislation?
is the way it's traditionally been, is they're all listed on the same.
We can include them in one piece of legislation. That's not, and it's just an elected official position, right?
You're the two attorneys.
Yeah, but this isn't my job. I mean, if they can be combined into one piece of legislation, I'm totally fine with that.
I think that's.
If I have it,
Yeah,
I think.
I guess all of the other statutory employees are all a single piece of legislation, are they not?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I'll put at the law director's discretion.
Are you, can I interrupt? Are you guys doing anything with civil service or what else is on there? The clerk, not elected.
The council clerk, yes. That, did you intend for that to be part of your,
Yes, I didn't realize that. I suppose they're appointed, not
So
elected, right?
the list on the last one, so mayor, auditor, law director, treasurer, president of council, clerk of council, council member, we had DPU member, civil service chairman, civil service member.
Who is the chairman? We even have one?
Civil service. Keycon.
Yeah, my intent was for anybody that's on a fixed pay to have an annual increase for that position at 1.5%. So that would be to include the clerk of council, civil service chairman, and civil service member. I think we don't, was that, the other ones were not filled posts, right?
I would need you to list the ones that you said again.
Clerk of council, civil service chairman, civil service
member?
member.
And then council members.
Well, we're elected.
Thought your motion said for elected, so.
Yeah, my motion specifically said elected, so I would move to maybe amend that to all elected and or if it's an appointed position such as clerk of council, civil service chairman, civil service member, and what was the other?
Council members,
What
council president.
Do you want to see this?
I got council clerk. Yeah,
So that is your intent. You want to move to amend that to include
yeah,
that, those
I'll move
positions?
those, amend my earlier statement to include those positions.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to amend that to include those other positions. Any further discussion upon that? We're not missing anybody?
That's the list of the last, Kenneth, that's the last one, right?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Very good. Let you guys work that out correctly.
Shannon sponsoring.
Sure. I'll be the back.
All right. We'll get that to council and see what happens. All right, moving on to new business. We've got 3 items that were listed on new business. Number 1 is recreation donation money, $100. We just need to take this to council to appropriate the money. Is that correct?
Into recreation line.
The donation.
I'll move that we do that.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to that. Any discussion? It's nice that somebody wanted to donate. That's good.
I think it's the same. I think it's a repeat citizen, isn't it?
Very nice.
Do we send thank you cards to that person? I mean,
No, but that's actually a good idea.
oh, we should, because they've donated more than one. We'll get who?
Borrow my pen though.
It was for recreation. Landon should send it.
No, I do like that.
Well, was that the same person that donated to the fire department?
No,
Oh,
no, different. I
oh.
believe this lady, is she a pool?
I don't know who it
She
is.
goes to the pool and I think occasionally when she
year.
checks in, she's opted to donate.
All right. Well, it'd probably be a good idea to send thank you cards to anybody that makes those donations.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, I'll add that to.
All right, we had a motion second. Did we take a vote? I don't think we did. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go. Next item, reappropriate fire capital, $140,000 for the renovations. If I understand, we'd already done that. Approved the money at one point before.
I don't think it's been reappropriated, correct?
Correct. It was
But-
towards the end of last year and it didn't get spent, so we're just circling back. But timeout, can I get a sponsor for the donation money?
Me.
Right.
So the 140,000 was appropriated, not spent, not reappropriated. Now we need to spend the money.
Yeah, I think he's still looking to do some of those repairs, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I agree.
Or we'll come
I'm
back.
not gonna step on it.
Any further information on that?
I have nothing other than we need to reappropriate the money because he can't. Is he still going to bid? It hasn't been advertised or anything, right? And I think we have all of that legislation from last year.
Do we have to redo that to, like, to put the bathroom out to bid? Ball
It's
director?
already been done, so I don't believe we would need to go back, even though it's been months.
The question is if we'd have to put it out to bid again.
If we would have to have legislation to allow it to be put back out to bid if it was already approved last year. All right. Any further discussion on this? No?
Could I ask what the 140,000 was for? Like,
Mostly, a big part of that was the bathroom.
Yeah, updating the bathroom, specifically showers.
Yes.
And then exterior, so that started, part of the reason for the delay is not knowing what that lentils were gonna cost. Like making sure, because that was a safety issue. And then exterior, so whatever changes to try to encapsulate that outside. Yeah. It really was more of a, hey, what can we do? Actually, I think originally they talked about painting it, but I think siding, like,
will it have
might
any
be cheaper.
do with the sidewalk possibly?
This won't be doing the sidewalk, but we need to address the sidewalks in the city period, so, but this will not.
I was reading that on the plane coming back from, because it was on my tablet. and I couldn't access anything else. Reading that last. All right, so I will move that we reappropriate the $140,000 to fire capital.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Carries 3-0. Capital budget policy discussion.
Walter,
I will.
do we
Unless
need
Lisa
this
wants
as
it.
an emergency? I don't know the timing or what.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, it's August.
Probably does, and then, and it's went through the process, so it probably does help to do that, because if he doesn't get it to bid, we're gonna be right back at the end of the year again. I think, so.
Yeah, but you already have,
Yeah, but we got advertising.
you already have the right to put it to bid, so.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah.
Study something on it all. Emergency then, yes.
All right. Do we have the sponsor emergency? Yes. Capital budget policy discussion.
So you have it sitting in front of you, like, in that. This, Greg, as I talked to you, is literally now just a discussion of trying to create a plan, path forward of how we do it, as opposed to show up in January, February and say, I need money. Part of what I talked about when I first come in, including more recently with, fleet replacement plan, but getting a capital plan in place first. That way we have something that's consistent, it's fair to the other people, and it's not who makes it to council first. So what I'd like to do is look at what a budget process, like what does it look like? So a number of these things should have dates assigned to them. I don't, because I really need information on what you guys do. Like, when do you want your capital budget requests, and you know, with the idea of the plan when they implemented that. So as you look at, you know, with the deadlines would be like the department heads review existing assets and identify them. Departments submit capital budget through the safety director and the auditor to look at funding. They present their request and justification. And then I actually have a scoring matrix. If you look on the last page, there's some, actually the scoring matrix didn't print on that. There is a scoring matrix that, oh, did it show up?
yeah, separate page.
Okay, it is. It's on the second page, not the third. I'm sorry. So it gives us a matrix look of how we would prioritize and to fund things. And then what are the funding sources? So I think one of the important things is everybody thinks capital is just capital money, but capital funding is part of it, but there could be grants and other funding sources that help fund some of that. And obviously, and I'll lean to the auditor, but obviously if we can get grants or other funding and keep money from coming out of our capital, that's obviously better for us. And I want to see people push towards that too, as much as we can, getting the grants to do it. The issue with having a project or a planning policy is to make sure things are done in advance and not run at the last minute. When you run at the last minute, and I'm not saying there's never a time to do that, but we bypass prioritization, what's important to the city, the safety issues, and sometimes we miss those other funding opportunities. Now, I was very fortunate in Columbus. I thrived on millions of dollars of grants from Homeland Security and things because of what I did. Those monies are largely gone. They're difficult to get. There's just not that many projects out there right now. That doesn't mean they won't come back, and doesn't mean we shouldn't look for them. Landon looked at a couple grants earlier this year to retirement. I can't think of the name of it. Like the retirement group and some of that kind of stuff.
AARP.
Yeah, you know, those are great, and it didn't take any time. That grant can be recycled somewhere else if it becomes available. With just, there was 14,000 applications or something like that, so it didn't get funded. But there was an opportunity to make additional improvements to pickleball and the other park and things like that down there. So, but what I would like is even if it's not tonight, but a review, but like what kind of a timing process? You know, that if you say, I mean, if you tell me, hey, I want capital projects submitted to the finance committee in December, I can go back and fill in dates and start working with them to get some of this kind of stuff done. We will require more information, what they have. You know, they'll have to do more work up front. No more showing up to the meeting and says, hey, I got a chance to buy a cruiser for $72,000. I haven't in the past. That will never even float to come in. They shouldn't have to come to a finance meeting and ask, when do you want capital improvement projects submitted? We should have a plan or a policy in place. Now, I throw one more thing in there, and it's not in this draft, but the other is there's always times of an emergency. So, you know, vehicles in a crash, it's totaled, they can't wait, something else catastrophic. But that's no different than anything else that we bring, right? Again, probably going to know it before the meeting and we can have that discussion. And obviously those can take priority over other projects. And again, I'm sure Ken will agree that's still, if money's available, I mean, you know, we still have to have the fund available. The hope is that we will have a better control of the process itself. It doesn't do anything to improve our finances other than, actually, that's not necessarily true. Hopefully the finances, because we can maybe access additional leverage, other funding that may be available to minimize the capital budget or the capital funds, you know, the impact on that. I will say, and I started to say earlier, a concern I have, so we talk about the funding, but no matter what the funding is. I had the issue at Columbus. I see it continue to trend now. Apparatus, fleet, large vehicles, that pricing is trending up at an unbelievable amount. Fire trucks, I know when Todd bought the last engine, the price he told me was unbelievable. We paid triple for something very similar the same year he received his. Not bought, but received. There's major looks from U.S. Congress at price fixing and some other stuff, but I still think we're a few years from being fixed for that. A ladder truck today is going to cost $2 million to replace. That 11 years ago was $986,000. And that's pretty much bare bones. Like the costs are phenomenal. So we look at, and to augment Kevin's comments earlier about costs and improvements and that's no frills. Like we're not putting frills on it. That is basic replacement cost. And we really have to be cognizant about those kind of things as we're moving forward planning. It's going to be different. Same with medics. Medics have increased it, doubled in prices in that same time period. Now there's some changes there that can be done. There's some things I want to look like. Can we take the body and just replace the chassis and keep the body and have it reinstalled? We can bring some costs down. Then they're in good shape. So there are other options we can take and look that maybe hadn't been considered. Well, here it wouldn't, because it would have to be in the past, but remount the chassis, or actually remount the body onto a new chassis, and we could bring costs considerably down if the chassis can be, if it's in good shape. So that's really the intent. But what I didn't want to do is go down this line, create this policy, come to you guys, and you say, well, we should have checked. We really had different ideas in terms of timing.
I don't think we have any ideas when it comes to timing. I would imagine that would be, I mean, other than generally, before we're looking at, you know, budget proposals for the following year, which are going to come at the end, you know.
Well, that's in the operating budget. So historically, we haven't even looked at capital until January. Right?
Well, and then if you're going to make a requirement of various department heads securing or research possible grant funding and stuff like that, every grant that I've seen is going to have a different application deadline. So how much?
Well, but they're going to have to look at what they have. So so let's say you said, hey, so just because we present capital to you doesn't mean it has to be addressed then. So the issue is, when do you want to start looking at capital projects, hearing our information? I really don't want to sit here for 3.5 hours covering every capital project that may come up. And even then, that could be mind-boggling. What I really want is, when that's presented, that we have different concepts, what prices, things like that. We have a better idea, submit a packet ahead of time, there can be discussion. It doesn't have to happen at that meeting. Matter of fact, I think the best process is it's not happen at that meeting. It's discussed, bring it back maybe the following meeting and make, that way if there's questions, can be not a rush process.
Right. So we talked the other day, and I agree 100% with that, that if they brought it, doesn't matter in August, these are their ideas. This is what they want to discuss. And now we have time to gather additional questions and get those answered at the next meeting, and try to do our homework on some of that. I like that process.
Even the roads for public service committee,
That's part of.
I like that part
Right.
amazingly. We'd be ahead of the ball instead of where January, February this year, we were approving that money and now we're kind of, hey, waiting for those projects.
Well, when it comes to the roads, from what I remember, Tommy, we didn't approve the money until, let's say we had the discussion in January. It may not have made it till February. It didn't get approved till March. There could still be the 30 days. Now you're at April before you can put it up to bid, and those companies have already lined up their work for the summer. So you're too late in the process. Right? So I think what you're asking, if the timeline, if we're going to discuss it, I think we'll work backwards, right? So if we wanted things to be available starting in January, it's when our budget really starts, right? 30 days before that, we're talking in December. If anything passes, then it has to wait 30 days. We would want that in December. We'd have to probably start that in no later than October.
I'm thinking more like June, July.
Well, I mean to come here.
Oh, yeah, no,
I'll
that's.
request
So you start that
Yeah,
process.
our press will stop much earlier, but keep in mind, part of that process is, we talked about doing the facility inspection, equipment inspection. That part of that is through that process too, that needs are identified, help us prioritize. So
if we're working backwards from this, Steve, and like October, that means September's when you're going to have that list maybe, right? You come to whoever, finance or whoever in September, and then if there's further discussions, it can come back in October and then be brought to council and get through the process. I mean, where do you think? What are you thinking in that process? If we're working backwards, what would you suggest?
I don't know, it's hard for me to wrap my head around because
I think we need to.
previously for
discuss
years,
part of
we haven't even looked at anything until the year ends and we see what the funds are. So it's hard for me to think the other way. I'm not against it, but it's, there's a lot to go into it that I can't,
So
I don't know enough about.
Yep.
Chassis, foreign language to me.
No, but
But like-
if we don't know the dollars, that does matter. I mean,
Yeah.
she makes a very valid point. That part matters in terms of when it's applied, but it doesn't hinder us from bringing the concepts ahead of time, prioritizing them, ranking them where we think they should be, and having those discussions in finance, probably no later than November, even if, because it doesn't have to be voted on and approved till we know what fund. Obviously, we don't do that. And go back even about the streets and some of that. Some of the problem is we can have estimates. But the problem is we're not going to bid it till whenever or put it out there. They're not going to do it. They don't even know their cost till early spring. So it's difficult to find out what current prices are. So there's ways to avoid that too, add a 20% increase in it to, if we're asking for, X amount is plus 20% for cost overages on certain things we just got to have that in the plan to address it. Or we just know we're cutting when that cost comes up.
Yep. Kind of, hey, 500,000 is our budget and yeah, this list of streets and we just have to cut off the last couple. So.
I will say too, I expect hiccups, so kind of brings up a very valid point. Hey, we don't know the money. If we figure some things out the first couple of years, because it's a complete new process, what I will say, what I think about plans and policy is, are they meant to be changed? So, as we find out the hiccups that don't work, we can't be afraid to change the dates or adjust a little bit. And the same thing, just because something's approved and then we don't meet the financial side, it's not there, grant falls through. It can be approved and pulled. I can tell you, I had many capital projects that got negative when they approved before we spent a penny. And, but if you don't plan for it, we're setting ourselves far down that road. So, I guess looking at those dates, I can come up with some times. I need to sit with Kenna. We'll look at that. I'll sit with the mayor. We'll look at some of what our concept is, but I need to sit with all the department heads and make sure we can create a legitimate planning process out of this. It's fair. my biggest concern is that you didn't have some widely different concept or idea than what I presented in the paper. And then if you look on page 2, of course, the project request form is an extreme draft there. I did that today using AI just with throwing some information. It needs updated, but the concept, it'll at least have everything in there when they have to. And if you look for priorities, so if there's 110 possible points, what's there, we can change or adapt that as necessary. But when things hit 90 to 100, it's critical, meaning we probably, those need to be critical to funding.
There's a whole.
And but there's other type information that supports that too. But again, it's not an automatic that it's there. And then high priorities, medium, something below 60. So again, I'm going to beat up on the police cruiser. They come something with 50,000 miles on. The only reason I'm beating on police because it's easy with a low mile like that, a car that's out there every day, and they have others. No, it's not time for that. We're use it for others. People be pushed in the backup role. There's a number of ways we address things without that being critical. And that from the administration, the department has jobs to make sure he's rotating vehicles and that. There's always exceptions. K9's a good example that, you can't just throw the K9 guy in another cruiser because of the dog. There's issues there, but first shift can use third shift patrol car if they need to. There's things like that we can do. So. And then, like I said, there will be a vehicle maintenance policy that goes along with trying to get the 3 or 4 departments consistent. And then look at vehicle replacement specifically that will go into this also.
So do you have suggestions? You're not on the committee, but what do you think about the process?
So like.
What do you think, Lisa?
Yes, welcome future councilman. That's what I'd like to think.
I think it's imperative that we start to do this and at least have some ideas and plan for things.
Well, I think it puts each department in a better position. Council, I think it puts us all in a better position to have discussions like that and not feel rushed or rush into a decision or rush not know if we have the money, and also have a plan that even if it's not funded or doesn't meet it, we've still got a plan in place that can be updated, put right back in place if something comes available.
My brother-in-law was in the military for his 20 or 30 years, and you can't scratch your own ass without a policy that says you can do it.
Yeah.
To me, it's shocking that we've managed so far with Dad's approach. Right?
I just think it helps us long term. And COVID created a whole huge bunch of issues that were never there before. I mean, you could have been set in place before, and COVID with the cost and the policy changes that really created huge issues. But I think this allows us, puts us in a better place 5, 10 years down the road, allows department heads to plan better, allows the administration to plan better. And again, remember, plans are made to change. We just got to be flexible with them and not say, nope, that's what it says. Well, if it doesn't work, let's fix it. This plan came out of a number of different places and resources. Same with the vehicle maintenance, used nationally accepted standards to look at. I think, again, I do have to tweak because I got to make sure it meets our PPM. And I think we did discuss, right, 5 years.
Asset, yeah.
10,000 this year. Yep. Of what's a capital, what's not. And just because that's in capital doesn't mean it has to be purchased out of capital. It might be something to be purchased out of the general fund or other funding. Yes.
That list of
Yeah.
items.
But it doesn't mean they don't go through this process to get there and they say, no, we're going to fund it that way instead. What's the best for the city? I think it's important. So.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep it on the agenda moving forward for a little while to keep updating and discussing?
I'll have-
Or do you want to touch base?
No, I think it's fair to have it on there. We'll have more information next month, I promise, because I should have the vehicle policy, because it was going to go to public service last. It's the same thing. It's a draft. It's more of a concept. And then once I meet with department heads, we'll be able to give them a better idea what we think works time-wise to do it. This year may be a little adjusted because timelines can be screwed in.
Yeah, we're already behind the 8 ball for
Yeah,
that,
but
but
they can still get there. And I don't think we're gonna have a ton of projects that get funded this year anyway, but if there's something that's there, we know what's available.
we still have like 575,000 encumbered for this year in capital.
Street,
or mostly street?
yeah,
Is it all street?
I believe.
I think that's pretty
believe
much.
it's all street.
$500,000 of it.
Yeah, I knew it was about, I knew it was 500,000.
It is, you said encumbered, right? I did ask him to encumber it, so we knew what it, the
Right,
loans actually
yeah.
looked like.
I think we're just waiting on a schedule for them to
Okay.
get it, like, to actually do the work.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that, after we've talked about it, bringing it here. Are you gonna bring it up at council too, just to explain to the rest of the council, mayor? They may have suggestions.
Yeah.
So we can have that discussion. Maybe they want to have further discussion with you also. All right, so that's the end of that, but I'm gonna add this point because I had it written down before I walked in. And that is the enterprise fund, knowing that there could be money left over from that, and because I was bored on the plane and I'm reading this, and it was the 1-page report for the city-owned properties sidewalks that need repaired. And I think it was somewhere like $560,000, but they weren't all critical. Ben. So a couple of them are critical. I think Cowling Park was critical. I think this showed, or a failing score. I think this was failing or close to it. And I think those two were like $350,000.
And that's off of the estimate from Cityscapes or whatever.
Yeah.
Those numbers, but it won't be, like they admitted too, they're just throwing in numbers from somewhere else they used it, so it may not be that high.
Yeah.
But it ain't gonna be cheap.
No.
Out here, I want to address it, maybe something a little different. We don't need a 7-foot sidewalk. We go to 5, open up the curb lane a little bit and, put grass out there and go with shorter so it's less to maintain. But this side, everything needs replaced from basically the driveway to the street. Out front, we'll be able to do some repairs and not complete replacement. Fire department, you said, is that in front.
Yep.
Gravel, yeah.
And then Cowling, though, I looked at Cowling, I think it's hit or miss. I don't think there's,
I feel it's right down from
I mean,
it.
there's-
almost
yeah,
in
there's
front of your
some- there's some
place. There's
places
that one,
that
like,
definitely
jump
did.
on the.
Um,
House and Dave's house. Right.
yeah, there's definitely some places
Say
that
that's
need.
probably the worst.
And there may be some things to be able to shade and do some other stuff. So I'm not a big fan of shaving sidewalks, but I think there's a process for it. We just get to see if maybe we can get somebody to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe even lifting. I mean, it might be worth trying some of that stuff just to see how it works. I only say I'm not a fan. I've seen it fail tremendously at some of our firehouses in Columbus, but it might just be they weren't good candidates for it.
Or the concrete wasn't thick enough to begin with. If you shave too much off of it, it's gonna damage it.
Yeah.
I've seen it over in some subdivisions like in Grove City. And they weren't shaving 5 inches off, and it was, just a small area. And they could shave that down and at least make it not be a trip hazard.
Older, heavily aggregated concrete's not really probably good for that process either, because when they shades, it breaks those aggregate off the rocks. But I think it's worth trying to look at some of those. I talked to a couple vendors that said they would be prepared to give us to do an RFP. They would be prepared to give us a proposal on it. I'd much rather we do that than do outright bids, just because if we're going to bids, I think I got to get an engineer and have them actually come in and assess it, design it. And honestly, I don't want to pay another $70,000 for it. So.
What would your timeline be for the city-owned 4 sidewalks?
I don't know how quick they could do it. I don't know.
I mean, in your mind, you
Well, I mean, I could have an RFP ready pretty quick. I don't know.
thought trying to push it still this year and get some done?
Yeah, I think it's a fun. But we could do the RFP and then, in the RFP design, I mean, kind of estimate what we think of each property, what the cubic footage is or whatever. And do it that way. And then I would recommend that we do each property, one RFP, each property a sub of it. So here, fire, Cowling, there's another, like do them separate. So they're bidding them as you can win this A, but not win B or C.
Right.
And then I think there's a way we can do that, or overall. So sometimes if somebody says I get the whole thing, I'll make even a better deal.
Right.
We might do that, not to talk to. I have a couple of friends I can talk to who've done that in the past and see how that works. That may save us, but if it comes in really high and we only want to hit the critical areas, we can say this is.
What do you think? I mean, I'd like to have that process at least started, have that discussion. There's still money, there's money in capital. I know we don't want to just go blow all the money, but you know, it's what,
They're not
7?
getting any better.
No, they're not getting any better. And they're still, even after the encumbered parts, they're still what, 700? It's lower than it was, I know it, but
Well, like I said, there's some, like out here, we don't need 7 foot of sidewalk. We can reduce that, go back and put grass in.
706,000 right now, unencumbered. So I mean, it's just a thought too.
You
I'm
gotta
sorry.
prioritize and put in a improvement plan. I think that would be
Yeah.
something that exceeds $10,000 is gonna last more than 5 years, so qualify for prioritizing.
I would think so. All right, is there anything else in new business?
Did you, yeah, just one point of thing that this was brought up by Mr. Norman when he was still here, and then Jeremiah sent an email, I think, to all council members about the prospect that we need to be looking at redistricting at some point because of the new housing. I looked it up and he's absolutely right. We are lopsided already, and the way that the new projects are coming in is only going to make it worse. I didn't get as far as to investigate how that's to be done. I looked up the code and it says fairly and evenly.
I think we probably, if we consider doing it now, we'd have to do it again in
Yeah, because you
4 or
can't,
5 years.
you can't consider future growth
Yeah.
in the current change. No.
Which I'm not against either. I don't know the process, but
No, you cannot, but you could skew the numbers a little bit now, knowing that there's future growth. Because,
oh, I thought he said you couldn't.
no. I think you
To-
have
to
to
the
be, you have to be within a certain percentage.
To the percentage.
So if you lower a percentage, knowing that the growth's going to be there, you buy yourself a little bit of time. And I don't think we could do it again until after the next census anyway. I think you need that
Which is
data.
probably 2030, right?
So, but I think you could do that now. That was brought up at the council meeting, and I thought somebody said, we'll send that to one of the committees.
No, I don't think it got that far.
I think so.
I don't remember.
I thought Mayor Klosser suggested we could send that to service committee.
This has been talked about for years, multiple councils, multiple council members have said that they're gonna look into it, so. I probably did say service.
I think so. So I don't know if it went to service, is it, when did?
Well, we don't know.
That would
huh?
be-
Yeah. Our
Because
last
of
one's
tornadoes,
closed
like
on.
canceled.
We
like
have-
closed City Hall.
It wasn't on the agenda.
Was not on the agenda. We need to remind them. Or somebody, one of the committees, I agree. We got some data from him anyway.
But all the growth is generally in that same area. It might be something that can be split a little bit, but
Cut
the
Johnson's Creek.
development growth is.
Yeah, but I was also on a whole different document last night. It was projecting growth like in 2040. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know what, I'll have to go look it up. It's on my tablet, but it's showing growth on the west side also, where Leaches own the farm now. It was suggesting that as a medium density growth area. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that was the county. Well, there was a water study that was done. And they were talking about water needs and knowing that we don't have our water system anymore, but it recognized that. And it was just saying groundwater versus surface water and how that need was going to change and where the growth was going to be. Wherever they got that data projected, that where Johnson's Creek is, and then more on the west side. So I don't know. So I mean, wherever that's coming
What
from
is that?
eventually.
There's a couple lanes out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 4, right?
Mhm.
I'm 4.
I think so.
Yeah, so it's out past me, yeah. But I agree, we probably need to move forward with that. We're gonna have to do it soon. We have the data, so. All right, next, let's schedule the next meeting. I'm looking at my calendar a second ago,
Council will be the 3rd and the 17th.
3rd and 17th, and then there's basically 3 weeks before a council meeting. If we want to squeeze it after the first one, Labor Day's on the 7th, we wouldn't have it that day. Do we expect the other committees to meet on the 8th? would be my guess.
I've got written down that public service is on the 8th.
Yeah, I will say, I think he said it already for that.
So if we also go after them on the 8th, then everybody in the room's happy that they only have to come once. And then we will be between the two council meetings. We'll meet again, the council will be on the 17th. If there's any legislation, there's time for the law director to handle that. And then we wouldn't meet again on council till the 1st of October. And it'll be another strange month. It'll be the 1st to 15th and then another 3 weeks. So
So we're talking what day?
the 8th,
At what time?
after the other, so probably 6:30. You good with that?
Mhm.
Are you good with that, Shannon?
Tuesday, the 8th at 6:30.
Yes. Do that? Let's do that. All right, is anything else come before this committee tonight? Hearing nothing, I'll take a motion to adjourn at 7:34. We're adjourned. That was fun, huh?
Missed my other meeting. Oops.
What meeting was that?
Academic boosters at the high school.
Oh,
Marshall Guide runs it and it never, ever goes over half an hour. So they're done. Often it's about 12.
Yes.
You said the average is 12 minutes?
12, but.
Marshall prides himself on not fooling around and there's not a lot to discuss, but. And next year I won't be doing that anymore. He graduates.
She's a nice